All of the stickers, people. All of them. Okay, not all of them, but 13. 13 stickers for my Mac. They are technically not on my Mac as I record this, but by the time you hear this, they will be. All kinds of stuff. Places I've been, hobbies I have, political statements. All the stickers, people. Most of them.
This is macOS Ken.
iPhone 17 own Q1, Apple seeds release candidates for blankOS 26.5, and a look at Apple's 2026 Pride Collection. It is Tuesday, the 5th of May, 2026. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from macOS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by OneSkin, a new standard for your skin. Try it now with 15% off using code macOSKen at oneskin.co/macOSKen. This show is also sponsored by NordLayer, a toggle-ready network security platform built for today's business. There is so much to like about NordLayer. Start with the fact that it's there to protect your business. You gotta like that. And the ways it protects, including access control, making sure only people who should access your systems can, threat protection, keeping malware and phishing attempts at bay, and a business edition of the VPN that made Nord a name you trust. It works with the equipment that's already powering your business, that's another thing to like, and all of it at prices that you might go so far as to love. NordLayer starts at just $8 per user per month. They have special pricing for teams of 100 people or more and an exclusive pricing offer for you. Get up to 22% off NordLayer yearly plans plus 10% on top with offer code macOSKen-10-NordLayer at nordlayer.com/macOSKen. Try it risk-free with their 14-day money-back guarantee. NordLayer, toggle-ready network security built for your business. Get savings on top of savings with offer code macOSKen-10-NordLayer at nordlayer.com/macOSKen. What was the planet's best-selling smartphone at the start of this year? If we're talking about it, it must have been an iPhone. Counterpoint Research posted a post on Monday laying out the global top 10 smartphones in terms of sales for the first quarter of 2026. Topping the list, iPhone 17. Not the iPhone 17 line, though it did that as well. No, iPhone 17 was the top-selling smartphone with a 6% share. Not 6% of the top 10. According to the release, iPhone 17 was the world's best-selling smartphone in the first quarter of 2026, capturing 6% of global unit sales. Flavors of iPhone captured 4 of the top 10 spots, including first place iPhone 17, second place iPhone 17 Pro Max, third place iPhone 17 Pro, and sixth place iPhone 16. I want to stress how big a deal it is that iPhone 17 took 6% of the global sales all by itself. Counterpoint says the top 10 phones together captured 25% of global sales in the first quarter. While that may sound small, it is actually the first time that that grouping has captured that large a percentage. It was driven by sustained demand for the iPhone 17 series, according to the firm, along with the struggle for sales on the low end, thanks to Ragnarok. For the most part, it was the Apple and Samsung show. The South Korean electronics giant captured 5 of the remaining 6 spots, with China's Xiaomi Redmi A5 sneaking into 10th. As for quarters to come, Counterpoint expects more of the same. Looking ahead to 2026, the release says the top 10 smartphone models are expected to expand their share of global unit sales. The anticipated market decline is likely to impact mass market segments more significantly, with high-end smartphones continuing to gain share. In response, smartphone makers are shifting focus toward premium portfolios, prioritizing value over volume. OS updates are on the way for those 17s and 16s and other Apple hardware. Mac Rumors ran a few pieces Monday that had the Cupertino company seeding blankOS 26.5 release candidates to its developer program. That included version 26.5 of iOS, iPadOS, macOS Tahoe, watchOS, tvOS, and visionOS. A piece from 9 to 5 Mac has Apple highlighting some new features for iOS. In the update release notes, the company points to end-to-end encrypted RCS messaging in Messages. There are a few things to know about that. For one, it's in beta. For another, availability depends on carrier support. For yet another, Apple says the functionality will roll out over time. Whether that's dependent on carrier support or its status as beta is unclear. Apple is turning on suggested places in Maps. The company says that'll display recommendations based on what's trending nearby and a user's recent searches. And finally, there is a Pride Luminance wallpaper, which we'll talk about in a bit. Outside of what Apple's promoting is stuff it would probably rather not do, but has to. One of the Mac Rumors pieces has Apple testing proximity pairing, notification forwarding, and live activities for third-party wearables like earbuds and smartwatches in the European Union. That'll let third-party wearables have many of the same features as Apple Watch and AirPods, and you can see why Apple might not be keen to promote that. Along a similar line, another piece from 9 to 5 Mac says iOS 26.5 makes way for sideloading and third-party app stores in Brazil. As spotted by iHelpBR, the piece says Monday's release candidate for iOS lists Brazil among the regions where sideloading is supported, alongside Japan and the European Union. Interestingly, while Brazil is listed among the countries where sideloading is supported, 9 to 5 Mac says sideloading is still not possible in the country. At least it wasn't as of yesterday afternoon. Evercore analyst Amit Daryanani has noticed a trend in Apple's App Store that's not troubling exactly, but not overly cool for the store. Apple 3.0 had the analyst noting a drop in growth for the App Store in April versus March. To be clear, App Store revenue grew 5% in April by Daryanani's reckoning, but that was down from growth of 6% for March. The analyst says App Store growth was weighed down by gaming, which was down 2% in April versus the same month a year ago. Notably, says the analyst, gaming revenue has now declined year-on-year in 5 of the past 6 months and accounted for 42% of April revenue, down from the calendar year 2025 average of about 45%. Cut games loose, and App Store growth shoots up. Minus gaming, Daryanani's note says App Store revenues grew 11% year-on-year, with growth across all categories he and his track, led by productivity, which includes AI-related applications, up 54%, followed by music, up 17% year-on-year, and photo and video, up 11%. Apple 3.0's Philip Elmer-DeWitt supposes that casual gaming on smartphones, which took off during the pandemic, has become saturated. He also likes the idea that those people are playing with all those AI apps instead of playing games. Just spitballing here, it's also possible that the money people were spending on games is going to things both more mundane and suddenly more expensive, like gas, food, lodging. Or maybe everybody signed up for Apple Arcade. Anyway, App Store revenue is still growing, games are slowing that growth, so says Evercore's Darianani, who has an outperform rating on Apple shares and a price target of $330. More news in a moment, but first a word from today's sponsor, OneSkin, a new standard for your skin. If you have skin issues, you might try possible remedies with a mixture of hope and dread. Hope because something's gotta work at some point, doesn't it? And dread because, well, what if this doesn't work? Or what if your face explodes in irritation from whatever new thing you're putting on it? These are things that have happened to me, but not with OneSkin. I've tried stuff before that has caused immediate irritation. Nothing like that has happened with OneSkin's OS 1 Face. Certified safe for sensitive skin, their products leave out hundreds of harsh or irritating ingredients that have kind of set my face on fire in the past. No colorants, no scents, no alcohols. OS 1 Face delivers powerful results without harsh side effects. The skin on my face looks consistently healthier than it has in years thanks to OneSkin. Check it out for yourself at oneskin.co/macOSken. With over a decade of research behind it, OneSkin's OS 1 peptide is proven to target the visible signs of aging, helping you unlock your healthiest skin now and as you age. For a limited time, try OneSkin with 15% off using code macOSken at oneskin.co/macOSken. That's 15% off oneskin.co with code macOSken. They're going to ask where you heard about them. Please let them know it was macOSken. Try OneSkin now with 15% off using code macOSken at oneskin.co/macOSken. Which circle of hell are you currently trapped in? If it is the one where the Apple v. Epic case never ends, we're neighbors. I told you last week that the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals had unstayed a stay it had placed on the case. It is so convoluted. I hate it. Shortening it by a lot. Apple and Epic were ordered by a lower court to figure out an agreeable amount the Cupertino company could charge for iOS sales made outside its own App Store. Thing is, Apple was looking to argue part of that case with the Supreme Court and asked that the whole outside commission thing be put on ice until SCOTUS did the SCOTUS thing. Initially, the Ninth Circuit agreed to the hold, then changed its mind and said Apple could walk and chew gum at the same time, by which I mean it could hash out the outside commission thing in a lower court while arguing against the whole thing before the highest court in the land. But Apple doesn't want to do that, leading us to yesterday. That's when Apple Insider ran a piece that had Apple asking the Supreme Court to put a stay on the lower court proceeding. In its appeal to the Supremes, the company argues a stay is now needed before Apple is forced to litigate its commission rate under an erroneous and prejudicial contempt label in proceedings that could reshape the global app market before this court can consider whether to grant review. No word on when SCOTUS might decide on that. And finally today, I mentioned earlier that iOS 26.5 will bring with it a Pride Luminance wallpaper. As usual, Apple is introducing that with a new Apple Watch band marking next month's Pride celebrations. A piece from Cult of Mac says the wallpaper and band are actually part of Apple's Pride collection, which also includes a wallpaper for iPad and a new face for Apple's chronometer. Apple issued a press release on the collection on Monday. Starting with the physical thing, the company says this year's Pride Edition Sport Loop is woven from a rainbow of 11 colors of nylon yarns. The intricate weaving blends one color into the next, creating depth and movement across the band. The resulting design is joyful and vibrant, showcasing a full spectrum of colors that reflect the unique identities that shape LGBTQ+ communities worldwide. It's fine. To me, the Pride bands have yet to match 2020's Nike Sport Band Pride Edition. Somehow that one managed to be both subtle and vibrant. This year's digital assets, though, they kind of crush it. On the watch face, Apple says Pride Luminance face complements the band design with colors that refract dynamically. The face is designed in 2 geometric patterns, radiant, featuring rays of color that align with the hour marks, and vertical, reflecting the colorful linear stripes of the weaving pattern. It is full of color. At the same time, the release says users can customize the watch face with even more color options to create a unique expression of themselves and their communities. The Luminance wallpapers for iPhone and iPad are similarly colorful and similarly customizable. The digital offerings will hit when blankOS 26.5 rolls out, likely in the next week or two. The new Pride Edition Sport Loop is available to order now. Shipping and landing in stores later this week. It'll run buyers $49. macOS Ken, brought to you by me, and sponsored by NordLayer. Toggle-ready network security built for your business. Get savings on top of savings with offer code macOSken-10-NordLayer at nordlayer.com/macOSken. This show is also sponsored by OneSkin, a new standard for your skin. Try it now with 15% off using code macOSken at oneskin.co/macOSken. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can find me on Mastodon, macOSken at mastodon.social. You can also send me an email, info@macOSken.com. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Pitter patter, let's get at her.